Hello and welcome back to the channel, ladies and gentlemen. This is Zip here to bring you more crypto news as we journey through this environment together. A lot going on out there. We're going to talk about the markets today. We're going to look at some XRP FUD. We're going to discuss crypto as a whole, that bigger picture that I like to focus on, because that is what keeps you on target and understanding what you're invested in and ignoring the FUD. Fear of missing, fear, uncertainty, and doubt, and not getting into FOMO, which is the fear of missing out. Welcome to the channel. Thank you for all the new subscribers. Appreciate all the likes, the comments, as we are still very early in this crypto journey. And the best is absolutely yet to come. And we're going to talk about some of that today. But again, be safe, be secure out there, and most of all, stay positive and stay on lock and ignore some of the FUD. Be careful of who you are listening to. Remember, everything that comes in here is either positive or negative, and you have to process that. So just make sure you're sticking with the positive stuff that's out there and ignore some of the FUD. Now, getting into the markets, we're seeing Bitcoin make a little bit of a more run again. Bitcoin's at $123,000 at the time of this recording. XRP right at about $3. And again, I get asked many times, what are some of my favorite coins in the environment? And as you can see, they're listed here for you to see here. Bitcoin, XRP, Cardano. I like real world utility assets because that is the transformation that is absolutely happening as we watch the financial institution change right before our eyes. Now, getting into some of the news out there. This one here, ladies and gentlemen, absolutely huge. When you're invested into an asset, you want to look for change within all of the environment, and you want to look for exposure. Crypto, that is what is happening right now. It's becoming magnified out there, and we see this. Coinbase is partnering with Samsung to offer users access to crypto through Samsung's wallet app. Does not specify one particular crypto. No, it's not about XRP. It's not about XLM, HBAR, Bitcoin, because remember, it's an interoperable world anyhow. So if you're focused on one environment and you think your coin is going to be the only coin and capability out there that wins in this environment, this financial change, my opinion, you're incorrect with that. Now, this here, though, does open up exposure. Everyone has one of these devices in their hand, a phone. We use them every day, and it's opening up more exposure to have integrated capability at the touch of your fingers as this financial infrastructure is being changed with digital assets. This is really, we're talking about millions and millions and millions of folks that from day one of when they get their phone in their hands, they're going to have access to Coinbase and a wallet that is integrated and built in to the environment and the framework of the device that they're walking around with, that they can do payments with. Huge news, bigger picture again of what is going on out here, and that's what we want to see. Now, let's talk about ETFs and what is going on with regards to ETFs and the coin and what we're waiting on. Yes. Right now, we're in a government shutdown. So things are kind of on halt as far as S1s being approved. Remember, we just had the update right before this debacle and the shutdown as far as them being able to approve these ETFs easier. And they asked all the folks that had submitted requests out there, there are 19 B4 filings, to pull those back because in this new environment, it's going to be a lot easier to prove them. All they need is an S1, and they need to update their information. The SEC is going to be working through that. But yes, we may have a little delay here, but we're still shooting for middle of this month. By the end of October, you can see here the list of ETFs that are sitting on the chopping block, the table, waiting for approval. Many of those, for those of you that own XRP, these are spot ETFs, which is going to create some supply shock and demand as we see retail investors, normal retail investors that like to use ETFs as their exposure tool coming into the environment. We're seeing news, the Bitcoin ETF, we have seen what that has done and how successful of an offering that has been. I believe we're going to see the same thing for XRP and many of these other ETF offerings as crypto just is taking over the environment and is on the tips of the tongues of many of the greatest financial institutions and ETF offerers out there. We see them here: Hashdex, Bitwise, Canary Capital, Grayscale, Van Eck. All the big boys are lining up because they want to make money, for one, but they know how much the public wants to get into these assets and be exposed through an ETF offering, which maybe is a little bit easier for retail investors. Me personally, I'm going to own the asset in my own hardware wallet. That's the way to go for me. I don't want exposure through ETFs because there's other regulatory requirements when you get into that environment. Now, let's listen to this. Again, it's about the transformation and the change that is going on. We know at this point, if you have been listening to this channel, this is where the future is going with digital assets. It is going to be the backbone of the financial system, and it's going to be an interoperable environment. There will not be, again, one project or coin that takes all of the market infrastructure environment, in my opinion. But there's going to be an extreme winners. There's going to be your mid-tier winners, and then there's going to be your low-level winners. That's all coming, but let's listen to this interview with Charles Hoskinson as he lays out perfectly exactly what we are experiencing right now and why you should be so damn excited to be in the right environment and be exposed to these assets.
Robinhood, he talks about how cryptocurrencies will be the backbone of the financial system.
Yeah.
Will it be?
I think so. I mean, tokens are like financial stem cells. They can be heart cells and brain cells, and so they can be securities or commodities or currencies or intellectual property. And having T0 24/7 global settlement with full programmability is a really powerful thing. The only thing we're missing is selective disclosure and rational privacy. You need to have the ability to do private smart contracts to sort out the private side from the public side, and that's where the industry's at right now, so solving that last mile problem. Once you have it, you can pull everything together, and then you can be a superset to broker dealers and superset to custodians and all this other stuff that runs the legacy world. And at that point, there's no reason to run on the legacy systems. You want to run.
The legacy system is absolutely dying, as he put it so eloquently there, solving that last mile of settlement. And we know one of the tokens that I love, projects I love to talk about, XRP, is one of those crypto digital assets that is going to solve that last mile, that last piece of cross-border payments and make it a more efficient and cheaper infrastructure with regards to financial assets and payment solutions. There is so much going on right now, and you got to build that bigger picture and just absolutely understand. So when you start to see FUD like this, which we're going to get into here about SWIFT and what is going on, yes, huge news, big news, they say. We're launching a major new initiative to transform payments for consumers and small businesses. Look, at the bottom line, if you've seen this news, this is not a killer for XRP or any of the other projects that we talk to. Remember, SWIFT is like a pig with lipstick on it, all right? They are a messaging system, and looking at what they're doing, yes, by use of Ethereum and Lineage blockchain, yes, they're doing a pilot, another pilot, but they've done pilots before that have failed and been unsuccessful. So do not let this information distract you, because I'm already seeing other, we'll call them influencers out there, talking about this and shifting gears and possibly, selling some of their position within XRP and other crypto that they may own. Be focused. Do not be swayed by these conversations. Have an absolute discipline and know what you own and understand where this is going. And by that, in this conversation here, we also had Tom Zaslak. I can't even say, I don't know how you say his last name, but Tom here with Swift putting calling out basically XRP, stating here, calling a private token a bridge currency is like using a fax machine and calling it the internet. It mimics the form, but not the function. This coming from, an environment within Swift that has been stealing millions and millions of dollars for years and years. And it just is a intermediary and just a messaging system. But with that, there was some information that came out, maybe something that was leaked from somewhere else, but some background information coming from Brad Garlinghouse talking about this exact environment and what is going on with Swift. I think we're going to start to see some fireworks based on this. We're going to read this out here, but it says Swift announced, and again, this is from Brad Garlinghouse, okay? Leaked information. Nonetheless, Swift announced it has built a prototype for a blockchain-based shared ledger to be added to its infrastructure stack, initially focusing on real-time cross-border payments. I received a number of questions, of course, because people are concerned. This creates an environment of concern because you and I possibly would start to wonder, well, are we too deep into XRP? Absolutely not. Frankly, he says, it's made me realize he hasn't shared enough recently about the thoughts I have around how we view and what is viewed as Ripple's actual core competitors. And perhaps he says we will spend some time on competitive landscape in an upcoming note. But anyhow, he's talking about Swift as a major competitor, but the reality is, as he says it, at this time, it's taken for them to announce a prototype. We've been building robust digital asset infrastructure, meaning Ripple has been building it, expanding their payment solutions and products to custody. We've seen the custody solutions that are coming out. We have seen the companies that they're buying with regards to hidden road and rail and development on the XRPL and more with recent, again, those acquisitions we just talked about. As far as the Swift news, he says, it's really more like a marketing play in a lead up for their annual conference. So again, ignore the FUD, be strictly positioned and understand what you own with regards to XRP and many of these other cryptos. As we've just exposed, we are going through a change and there's going to be a battle for the legacy system. It's not going to die easily. Okay. We are seeing that and have been seeing that. And that's why it takes patience and time. But if you have the focus and you have the stomach and you have the mindset and you're not over leveraged, don't go put your house up, in my opinion, to get into this environment. Do it smart, do it efficiently. Save your Starbucks money and go, DCAN, dollar cost average in to some of these products, XRP being one of them, one of the ones I love because the future is absolutely so bright. But do not get fudded out. Do not get discouraged by this news. Understand the bigger picture of what is going on in the environment. And yes, there's going to be a battle. But at the end of the day, I believe efficiency and digital assets and crypto are going to win. We see that full force behind from the administration in the United States of what they are putting up as digital assets, becoming the crypto capital of the world. We're seeing the changes and the modifications at the SEC. We see them at the CFTC, the conversations that are being had. Push through all the smoke and the mirrors and understand the future and take a risk. That's not financial advice, but a small risk can be an absolutely phenomenal reward in the very, very near future because we are in Q4 and I believe things are getting ready to get fired up. Going into 2026, again, dispel all the doubt. I think the market cycles are changing. You can pick and choose who to listen to, and we'll see who's right at the end of the day. But long term, I do know all of these assets are going to be going up. It's just a matter of when. And that's where the patience comes in. But with that, continue to be safe, be smart. We'll be putting more content out here for you to ingest. Please share it out, like it, as we're just trying to get this information out to as many folks as possible, as you are still very, very early. With that, have a fantastic rest of your evening, day, wherever you are, and have a great week. And until next time, Zip is out.